to this week's episode of Good Thought, Why Not? The storytelling podcast where real people tell real stories about how following through on one good thought led them to where they are now. I'm your host, Eliza Zobel, and I'm so excited to be here today with you guys. These are the wonderful Woods. They are so fun and, you're just going to love their story. Seriously, it's so good. But anyway, they're here joining us from Provo, Utah, and it's going to be great. So what's kind of funny is the Woods and myself, we're actually neighbors. So it's kind of funny. How did we meet, guys? You remember?
I think it was we're in the same ward. And I think it was at our bishop's barbecue night, little summer kickoff. So, and it was, you guys came up to us and that was really fun.
Yeah, I also have a lot of classes with Riley. So I actually knew Riley, her husband, before I knew that you guys were married, or before I even knew he was married. But yeah, so then we got to that bishop's barbecue thing, and I was like, hey, familiar face.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah. And then we said we were going to play night games, and then we never did. So,
yeah,
I do that, but it's fine.
We need to. We need to.
We got part of this.
One of these days, yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, like I said, I'm so excited that you guys are here today because your story is just one of those classic romances, but with a twist and a little bit of Utah flair and all of it, and I just love it. And so I'm so excited to just kind of dive into this. So I'll set a little bit of the background for you guys, but I believe you guys met at EFY, right?
We did. Yes, we did. We went to EFY together. We were each other's cows.
Crazy, I know.
So crazy. But after EFY, nothing really happened. So
you had no expectations that anything's gonna go anywhere.
No. I mean, we were 14. There wasn't really, I wasn't really thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna marry him. But I did. I was like, wow, he's very cute. He has a good testimony, and he's a good kid. I would love to rekindle things, but I wasn't thinking that we were gonna end up getting married.
And that's how you felt too?
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, I was getting into the thick of high school sports and everything like that, so I wasn't really too focused on anything other than just kind of surviving. But yeah, the same thing, I liked her. She was fun to be around, but we lived 20, 25 minutes away. Went to different high schools, so it was I didn't really know to see anything going.
Okay, and remind me, what was the age?
14.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fun.
So yeah, we weren't even driving. I wasn't even thinking about dating, right? Yeah. I mean, I just was like, oh, he's a cute kid. But other than that, no.
Okay, so then what happened after EFY? How did life progress?
Well, it just kind of went on. I mean, we both kind of went our separate ways. Like I said, we lived in different areas, different high schools, so kind of had our high school experiences. Mine was filled with a lot of sports, so I didn't have a lot of time for doing a lot of stuff outside of sports. It was kind of just mine went on until eventually I went to my mission, got my mission call and stuff like that. But
yeah, and that was the same with me. I was really busy I did cheerleading in high school, and I was on the student council, so I was very, very busy as well. But yeah, when he got his mission call, that's kind of when we rekindled. So
yeah, I actually posted on my Snapchat story, how everybody does. They post the text that says, oh, you received your mission call. So I posted that on my Snapchat story and was slide up for the address, come watch me open my mission call. And I had actually opened it by myself beforehand.
Oh, really?
Funny story, my parents were actually on a cruise when I got it, so I opened it 3 times. Once by myself, once on FaceTime with me and my mom and my dad, and then once for all of my friends that came.
Your siblings.
Yeah, and my siblings.
Okay.
But yeah, so I just put out a Snapchat story. She actually slid up on my Snapchat story and just said, hey, congrats. And I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't heard from her in a while. So I just told her, hey, you should totally come. It was totally funny. I had a steady girlfriend at the time. It wasn't, I don't know that I was necessarily thinking of it in that way, but I just had that thought to invite her and be like, hey, everyone.
But I'm sure you were inviting people that were like, oh, I want to come, give me your address.
Yeah, but still. It is
crazy.
Okay, so you slid in though.
Yeah, so I actually have, which is so funny, I have a picture of me right before I slid up, and I said, I'm about to Texas Wood. And I put it on my little private story with all my friends. Okay. And some of them were like, no way, because I was...
So they knew who we was?
Yeah, so my close friends that I came home and I was like, guys, I met this boy, da da da. I was like...
From EFY.
Yes, from EFY. And they're like, Texas Wood, no way, I've heard from it in so long. So anyways, I slid up. I just had the thought to slid it up. And I said, oh my gosh, congrats. That's so exciting. And then he invited me. So then I was like, crap, now I actually need to go. So I dragged one of my friends and we went, saw him open it. He came over, gave me a little hug. And then I left on my merry way. So,
So you didn't know he had a girlfriend or anything?
no, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
She did take a whole plate of cookies when she left, though. Like, the entire plate of cookies.
Yeah, I respect it.
Like, you know, the Costco ones?
Oh, yes.
I took an entire Costco thing and I
That's
took it
really
to my
cool.
friends.
I mean, you always have extra food. Nobody knows
That's
what
true.
to do with it.
I mean, there
True,
was
it's
like-
very true. There were a ton of
That's
cookies.
a good thought to follow through on.
Yeah.
He said grab a couple cookies, so I took the whole platter.
I love it. Hey, I love it. That's so good. Okay, so you slid up. He responded. You went on a mission. What happened from there?
Yeah, so nothing, actually.
Oh.
Again, this is another thing where nothing happened. I mean, I was dating a girl at the time, actually wrote someone my whole mission. And so we didn't like talk on my mission at all. I mean, I got home, I dated around for 5 or 6 months, but yeah, nothing ever really came from that either. You know?
No. So yeah, right when he got his mission call, COVID hit. So if he was, I always thought, I was like, if he does a home or a farewell talk, maybe I'll go. But then he never posted about it, and then COVID hit, so nothing happened. So yeah, nothing happened. We didn't talk on his mission. There was actually one time, I don't think I've ever told you this, but one time I was like, I wonder how he's doing on his mission. I was like, I'm gonna find his Facebook.
Okay.
So I searched up his Facebook, and he did not post nothing. He had nothing. I think he had
Classic
profile
owners.
pictures. Yeah. He had nothing. So I was like,
For
ah,
sure.
okay, whatever. So I let that die, and then yeah, 6 months after you got home, about would it be?
It was about 6 months, yeah. 6, 7 months after I got
Yeah.
home.
Then we found each other on mutual.
Oh,
We actually have
okay.
2 stories we tell everyone.
Okay.
Most people we tell we just met at a grocery store. We ran into each other at the Walmart down in Provo.
And that's probably the version we told you.
Okay. So we're getting the exclusive here.
Yeah,
I
you are.
see.
You are. You're getting the real exclusive. But yes, we actually, just funny, it was kind of a crazy story because I had only had mutual for, I think like a total in my life of like 2 weeks. I had it for like a week, and I deleted it for 3 or 4 months, and then I had it for like another week. Yep,
Yes.
what everybody does with dating apps. And apparently she had done the same, right? She didn't have mutual for very long,
Yeah.
but we just happened to find each other at the same time where we both had the app. And I was actually sitting on the couch next to all my roommates, and I kind of explained the story to them. I was like, guys, no way. Like, you'll never believe what just happened to me.
Okay.
And so I was like, you know what, why not? You know, it doesn't hurt to slide up, and even if things don't go anywhere, it's like, oh, well, that'd be fun to like make that connection again. Like,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah, and that was kind of the same thing. I was writing a missionary, classic. Anyway, so I was writing him, so I just was like, no, I'm not dating, I'm not gonna do that. And then it got to a point where I was like, what if things don't work out with him?
Yeah.
I need to date and experience life. I've waited so long not dating. I need to experience it. So I got the app, and I was with my cousin, which was my EFY like partner, and his profile showed up, and I was like, no way. So I ran over to her and I showed her, and I swiped up and we matched. So then I had to text him because I like matched.
Yes. Okay.
And I think I said something like, no way. But yeah, and that's how it kind of started. So
Yeah, she just, I wasn't big into dating apps. I'm not big into like the whole like playing along, like make you chase whatever. And so
Yeah.
it was pretty soon into the conversation. I just asked her for a number, and then wanted to take her out to lunch. Funny story though, I got COVID during this. So I had gotten her phone number, we had texted for a couple days, and we had talked about going out sometime. And then I got COVID and was supposed to stay home from all like school and work and stuff.
You were
And so
a rule breaker.
no.
You said
I
you
did.
didn't
I
go.
used it very much to stay home from all of my
Okay.
classes
Okay.
as I could, and my work,
Okay.
all of my classes and my work.
Okay.
But we just kind of like stopped talking for a little bit.
Well, he said, I have COVID, we're gonna have to reschedule. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
Okay.
So then I stopped texting him. for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had that COVID for 2 weeks. I stayed home. You know, I milked that for all it was worth. And then it was probably about another month after I was done with that whole episode. That one day, kind of out of the blue, I was going through some old text messages trying to find something for one of my buddies, and I saw her name, like, as I was scrolling through my text messages to find, like, a photo with one of my buddies or something. I was like, oh my goodness, I need to text her again. Like, I totally
Was it an
forgot.
EFY picture by chance? Is that what you saw?
No, she did. That was one of the first things she sent me.
Yeah,
okay.
I had switched phones and everything. I didn't have the picture, but she did. We still have that
I do
picture.
have that photo.
Of
It was
us.
at our wedding, actually.
It was on, like, our walk-in
I
table.
love it. That's so funny,
But- So then I finally texted her and I'm like, hey, so sorry this is taking me so long, but, like, do you want to go out to lunch sometime? Like, I'm done with all
But
this
you
stuff.
were like, let's go out to lunch on like Tuesday or something. It was
Yeah.
like, he had like a
I
set
tried
date.
to be very, very upfront with it because I was
Yes.
Get it.
like I said, you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? We met on a dating app. It's not like I found her in one of my classes, so it's like if it doesn't work,
We'll never see
I'll
each
never
other.
see her again. So it doesn't even matter. But she said yes, obviously, and we went to Costa Rica and had like a little like 2.5 hour lunch date, and it was kind of crazy because
Well,
we
it,
ate
it,
for like the first 30 minutes, and then
it felt like we were like catching up with an old friend. Like it was so fun. So then I said, I'm an amazing bowler and we need to go bowling. And he's like, no, you're not. But I'm good.
she's pretty good.
So anyways, the next day we went out and we went bowling. And then,
The rest is history.
yeah, then we hung out all the time. But I was writing that missionary.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It
Okay.
was wild.
So crazy. But I remember, and so when did the Saratoga Temple open? Do you remember?
I don't.
I think it's like 2 years.
Yeah, it was like 2 years, but I think it was like May or June.
It's spring.
Sometime.
Spring.
Yeah, springtime. I wasn't endowed yet. I didn't go on a mission. I wasn't endowed, and I asked Texas to go with me. I think we were dating at the time, and I'm still writing this missionary. And while we were walking through that, I was like, "What am I supposed to do?"
Yeah.
We walked into the slush room, and I started bawling. Do you remember?
I do remember.
And we
Yeah.
sat down, and I just felt like I was with the right person at the right time. And I was like, all right, I guess like that's what's gonna happen. And that's when I started weaning out, not writing him as much, talking to him, and then we kind of broke off. And yeah, it was crazy. So yeah,
So it sounds like there was a combination of things that went into
Yeah.
this story, and so many things. Obviously, starts off with the first thought to go to EFY, which we like. Go EFY.
Oh, yeah.
I realize not everybody might not know what EFY
Yeah.
is, but it's basically like
a church camp.
a church camp. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best way to put it. But so started with EFY, then no contact.
Yep.
And then a mission call. And so somebody decides to be Gutsy and Cindy and
Yeah.
slides into those camps.
Yeah.
And then mission,
Yeah.
no contact. R.I.P. And then it sounds like you both mutual, downloaded mutual,
Yes.
split up, and was it once again Maddie?
It was.
So
I'll give her the credit.
Maddie,
Give her the
she's
credit.
been doing the hard work.
I will give her the credit.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. And then from there, you set up the date. You did
Yes,
something.
I did.
Yeah.
You did something.
And that's why I
A
didn't
little
reach out to him again. I was just like, I'm not gonna do that.
True.
I already did it twice. I
Yeah,
already did it
she
twice.
already put in all the work.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I love it. It's so fun. I feel like it's so classic. Like I said, it's like a good Utah story. If I'm honest,
yeah,
it's so good.
it really is.
And proof that mutual does work if you're trying. I mean, take them as proof as much as you can.
Yeah, like we're like half mutual,
Okay.
half not, because we
Yeah,
met each other
you
before.
know each other before.
Yeah.
That's how my sister was as well. Like she knew her husband, her now husband,
Yeah,
because they were like in the same YSA, but they never really talked, and then they found each other on mutual, and then that's where it took off.
Yes,
So
yes,
like
exactly.
it works. Sometimes it's just that final little that push.
yes,
Okay, awesome. Okay, so if you had to sum it all up, like what was like the one thought that kind of like led things forward?
Oh man, that's tough.
I don't know.
I think it's just like the idea of kind of just like going for it, you know? Like, it was one of those things. For me, I always had the mindset of, all right, well, if it doesn't work out or if it doesn't go well, I'll never never see her again, so it doesn't matter. And so for me, that like kind of was like the mindset that kind of helped me put myself out there sometimes.
Yeah, and that was kind of the same thing. I was like, well, if it doesn't work out, I have this mission. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I get it.
No, but I also, like, 14, the first boy I kind of liked, I was like, well, I should go out with him and try it out, and if it doesn't work, I'll move on to the next. So,
She held on to that 14-year-old dream.
I did.
Sorry.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty much it.
Perfect. I mean, I totally get it. I also slid into my, I don't know, I didn't quite slid into my husband's DMs. It's kind of a mutual thing, but at the same time, we had a moment where we weren't talking for like 5-6 weeks, and I was like, oh, so somebody's a hater. Just kidding. Not actually. But I was like, okay, we met in Brazil. This kid's from Iowa. I was going to a different college and all these things. I was like, what are the odds that I'm ever going to see him again?
Yeah.
And so I just was very blunt with him, and I was like, when something had happened, and anyway, he'd message like, do you know what that was about? And I was like, well, yeah, basically that person thought that we'd be cute together, and I said I wasn't against the idea. And
I was being honest.
And I was like I said, this kid's like 6,000 miles away because he's living in Brazil, and so I was like, who cares? So I just sent it, so I get it.
Yeah.
And apparently when the girls send it, it tends to work out better.
I guess so. I guess so.
But I understand exactly what you're saying. It's just like, it's that idea of like, well, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole point of this podcast is exactly that. It's like, you have this thought, what's the worst that's going to happen with it? You might as well just go for it, because like, who knows what the outcome could be. It might be a terrible date, or it could be marriage.
Yeah. Right.
Or it could be just a lifelong friend, or it could be a lesson learned.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to come. So,
yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Seriously though, like, I love your guys' story because it's, like I said, it's the perfect example of, it's not a linear line to follow through for one good thought. It's always going to take you all over the place with a roller coaster of emotions. You might be dating someone else. You might be on the roller coaster with someone else. Who knows? But you're going to end up where you need to end up. And I love that. I think it's so fun. And so take the Woods example. Just send it. Who cares? You don't know what's going to end up happening. Like I said, like, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So the next time you have that thought, to just swipe up on the mutual. Send that Snapchat DM, or who knows?
Or go up to someone randomly. Like,
True.
EFY, like, that's how it was. Like, we didn't know anyone, and we just kind of mixed and mingled, and that's kind of how we met, so.
Exactly. So when you have those thoughts to just send it, just do it. Because you don't know what's going to be the outcome. It's a good thought, so why not? Right?
Exactly.
Why
There
not?
you go.
So thank you again so much for being on today. It's been such a pleasure to hear your story and to just share this with you. And if you're watching and you're listening and you have a story that you want to share, we have a Google form where you can put your information and your story down, and hopefully we'll be invited to be a part of the show next time. Again, like I said, we're just so thankful that you guys were on here today.
Thanks for having us.
Seriously.
We've loved it.
Anytime. Awesome. Well, catch you next time. Bye.